You are recording.
I am recording. Great. When I share my screen, I won't be able to see all of you. So if there is anything urgent, open your mic. If you have questions, write them down, write them in the chat. If you're afraid to forget them, we are going to take them at the end. Otherwise, it might become a bit too messy with so many people. All right, let's start. Are you all able to see my screen? Yes. All right. Great. Well, welcome everybody. Let's dive in. So Aqua Motion is a European funded project. The aim is to bring together scientists, technology, and artists with local community to address challenges that face water system across different continents. Through this residency, Aqua Motion really wants to foster collaboration through artistic residency, public program, and water innovation labs. And we are situated in different countries in Europe. And the aim is to generate inclusive, sustainable, water-related, creative responses to water-related issues, such as biodiversity loss, climate adaptation, scarcity, pollution, and so on and so on. This is a broad overview of the partners that are involved in the project. It's 12 of us between who is coordinating, taking care of communication, and the different wheels involved over the different countries that joined Aqua Motion. And here you can have a more graphical overview of the wheels, the innovation labs, and the challenge distribution. So there are 4 countries involved in the residencies: Portugal, Italy, Netherlands, and Austria. And here you can see also how many challenges are distributed per country. So going in quite practical now, once you are on the website where the open call is published, there are these 3 buttons: Guide for Applicants, the Challenge Booklet, and Apply Here. The Challenge Booklet, the middle one, is if you click on it, it will bring you to a PDF where you can find the description and the aim of all of the 25 challenges described in details. Because we only have 1 hour today, we don't have time to go through all of them, but just so you know, they are collected with explanations within the booklet on the website. Now we're going to dive in the guide for applicants. So this is a residency that gives 40,000 euro funding per artist. We can select up to 25 artists, and the total residency period is 13 months of 9 months artistic residency and then 4 months of a scale-up phase. There are several eligibility criteria to be able to submit an application to the Aqua Motion residency. The first one is making sure that you are able to travel in the country where you are submitting the residency, and making sure that you have a valid fiscal identification, for instance, a VAT or something similar. You cannot be affiliated with any of the S+T+ARTS Aqua Motion Consortium partner. But if you are a former resident from a host institution, you are eligible to apply. If you have received a grant for a S+TARTS residency in the year 2025 or 2026, unfortunately, you're not able to apply. Artistic experience: if you're applying, you must have a documented portfolio that shows your artistic experience through work of at least the past 5 years. All the applications that are submitted, they need to be written in English. Then the legal statute, I'm going to read this one to be precise, not be under liquidation or are any enterprise under difficulty according to the Commission regulation, or that are excluded from the possibility of obtaining EU fundings under the provision of both national and EU law, or by decisions of either national or EU authority. And lastly, the most important is that every artist is able to submit a maximum of two proposals, per challenge. And as later on, Frisina will show you, you are able to tick which one is your preferred proposal between the two, if you're submitted to. Other important points that you need to know when you are submitting an application. As I said already, it needs to be written in English. This is quite important. You're not able to edit your application after it is submitted. The copyright of the results remain with the artist. So if you're reusing a pre-existing work or third-party IP, you must state that clearly. Also, artists must declare and secure permission for use of any third-party technologies or IP if you're proposing such as one of those in your proposal. All the research and documentation from the residency must be made openly accessible to promote a collective learning. So this is something that you can keep in mind when you're applying. And your personal data will be processed under EU GDPR rules and only for purpose of the residency. This is a simplified graphical overview of how the residency is structured. So as I said earlier, it's a total of 13 months, starting from September 2025. The first part of the residency is 9 months, and the follow-up residency scale-up is 4 months. The payment is divided in 3 parts, 60% at the beginning, 50% at the conclusion of the first residency part, and 25 at the very end of the 13-month project. The first part, the first 9 months of the residency is divided in 4 phases. You have an initial phase that we call ideation that lasts for the first months, where you're basically orienting yourself, reflecting on the topic, and you can spend the first months also getting to know your host organization, the partner that you're going to work with. In the second phase, experimentation, you can start testing and developing ideas that were generated during the first month. So we are envisioning this as a research through making stage of the process, and that will last until the end of the fourth month. Then we have a third phase called sense making. So after the first getting to know your host and the partner and starting to experiment, you come back, sit with the partners, and just reflect and evaluate what you've done so far, and if there is any feedback that can be implemented in your work. That is the moment to reflect together on those. And then the final phase is prototyping and heading to a final review, in which so this final phase is dedicated to fully develop your idea in a final realized tangible demonstrator or a cultural manifestation of your proposal. Then we have a scale up of 4 months. Shall I also cover this, or?
I'm happy to jump in.
Yeah, that would be great. Yes.
The second part of the residency is called the Scale Up, and basically it is designed to help the artists validate their concepts in real-world scenarios and test the potential impact of their work and develop a plan for the further practical application. The first phase, the immersion phase, which will take place over the 2 months, is designed to help artists engage with local communities, experts, key stakeholders to ground check their residency outputs in the form of a one-day workshop for the local audience, for gathering feedback and participating in additional event or two to present and test the project outcomes. Gathered feedback will help the artists assess the knowledge value of what they have done over the first part of the residency, as well as assess the potential societal and behavioral impact of their ideas. And the second phase, another 2 months of acceleration, will provide the artist with tailored mentoring and networking opportunities. For example, the host institution, together with the artist, can identify industry potentials, policymakers, companies that could be relevant for the project uptake and organize targeted meetings with them. The goal is to advance the prototypes developed during the residencies, promote their societal, technological, or market adoption, and create pathways for long-term impact in society and sustainable water management.
Thank you, Lisa. Moving on. So what is mentoring? Maybe some of you already, they're already familiar with this concept, but the way we understand mentoring is in AquaMotion is a tool for mutual exchange rooted in a non-hierarchical approach. So throughout the entire process, you will have bi-weekly 1-hour sessions with your appointed mentor, and those conversations will serve as a learning moment, but also as a mean of support from the side of the mentor towards the artists. The mentor can have different function. It can be a person that very practically help you resolve problems, but also can be a sounding board for brainstorming together about your project, evaluate what you're doing, but it's mainly a shared learning moments in which you are both engaging on the topic of your research, of your project, and you are both basically benefiting from those moments of exchange. And it goes indeed from navigating very practical aspects such as administration and so on to a more conceptual or technical guidance throughout the process. So if you are artists of AquaMotion, what do we offer within this residency? As I said before, budget of 40,000 euro. You're going to have access to expert resources, technological infrastructure, and facilities that are provided by the host institution you're applying at. As just mentioned, you are participating in individualized mentoring program on a bi-weekly basis. You also get guidance, access, and support within what we call interdisciplinary 5-helix structure. That means that within each wheel, there is a constellations of partners that work closely together with the government or the environment or the academia or business or civil society representatives, and you're able to get in contact with those partners throughout the residency. You also have access to STARTS network. You have the opportunity to present your work in several international exhibitions and local events. And your project will get visibility through the different activity of communication that are used to promote the project throughout the entire process. From your side, the commitment would be to develop a tangible and presentable output, to be open to collaborate with different stakeholders that are affiliated with your residency. So not only with your mentor and host organization, but also with ecological, social, or political connected stakeholders. You're also required to be present at the site of the residency for a minimum of 5 weeks during the first phase. And on top of my head, Lisa, during the scale up,
It is 2 weeks then.
2 weeks. Thank you.
It is 3 + 2, therefore 5 weeks in total.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, because in the residency part, we explained that it was 3 weeks. So 2 weeks in the scale-up phase, so in total 5 weeks. But still, please keep an eye on the specific challenge details. Some partners might, for any reason, require more.
Yeah, thank you, Zeynep. You're also asked to contribute and be present at several events. On a mandatory level, you will be asked to attend all the local events and the PUPAT event in Belgium in 2026. You're also very welcome.
Quando io non sto con la telecamera, capito?
Sorry, if you're not muted, I would ask you to mute your, thank you. And you're also very welcome to attend the in-person residency kickoff in the Azores, which has been set to be on the 1st and 2nd of October of this year. And another commitment is to basically show up to the mentoring session on the bi-weekly base, participate in the reporting. There are going to be interim and final reporting, which means basically that we're going to ask you to present your projects to the partner of the wheels and to also collaborate and interact with the other artists and wheel members. This is a visual overview of the commitment throughout the first 9 months of the residency, and in the second column during the scale up. So with the risk of repeating myself, we are asking in both phases to be present on location for a minimum of 5 weeks in total. You will access to the mentoring hour 16 per phase. You will be asked to exhibit in local events, but also international events. You will be asked to sit in review and final presentations, and also to fill in a feedback survey that we will circulate throughout the process. So this is a rough overview of the timeline of the application process, and a little bit about how does the evaluation and selection process work. So now the open call is ready, was published on the 9th of May this week. It will close, the deadline is on June 13th. Please pay attention to the time because it's on Brussels time at 23:59. On the 20th of June, we will announce the first round shortlisted applicants, and those applicants are going to be 3 per challenge. The invited shortlisted applicants will be invited to the jury pitch days, which will take place between the 1st and the 15th of July. On some of the challenge, the exact dates are already announced. On some of them, they are not yet. And for some of the challenges, it may happen that the jury pitch day will change. So I would suggest to keep an eye on any publication concerning the jury pitch days. But of course, we will also get in contact with you via email if you are shortlisted applicants. Then in mid of August, we are planning to announce the final winners, and the residency officially is kicking off in October, the beginning of October, end of September, beginning of October. And in between these two, we will share the contract and you will be able to sign the contract. So I now want to pass the slides, microphones to Frusina from Pro Progressione. because what we would like to go more in depth now is the application platform. So the third and last button on the application page is apply here.
Yes. So, hello, my name is Prushina from Progressione, and as you can see on this slide, the application process has basically 4 main steps. And the first and foremost, please make sure to carefully go through the challenge booklet and choose one or maximum 2 challenges you would like to respond to with your residency project. And if you go for 2, you will need to indicate your priority order directly in the application form later. Now I think it will be easier if I just share my screen. So, yes. Can you see it right now?
Yes.
Okay, so here is the magical button. And yes, as Margarita told you before, you will use this Salus platform to submit your application, and it is like a super user-friendly and easy to navigate platform. And actually, they offer a real-time technical support. So if you have any question or some concerns or you need some feedback, like did I do it right or should I do it in another way? You can chat with the Zalas team. Here on the right corner, you can see chat box. So you can send your question anytime. And yes, it's a real person from the Zalas team, not a robot. So they are ready to help you all the way through. Yes. So before submitting, you need to register on Zalas. The registration form pops up automatically when you just hit the apply now. I already got an account, so I skip this step, but for you it will take about like 1 minute or 1 minute and a half. You just need to enter your name, your email, your password, and you are good to go. And once you are in, you will see this application form. A key thing is here to go to the category tab and select the specific challenge you are applying for. If you are applying to 2 challenges, you will need to submit 2 separate forms, one for each. So just simply use this drop-down menu to select which one you are working on right now. And still on the same page, under this guidelines section, you will find the OpenCall guidelines once again, also the challenge booklet, and a clear list of required documents for your application, like the residency timeline, the detailed budget table, a short CV, and a portfolio. And you will find template files for the timeline and the budget just below. And please make sure that you are using these exact templates, because application will only be eligible if you download these files and fill out and upload your info into the provided formats. So I just wanted to highlight that, like, you do not need to design your own timeline from scratch. Here you will find the templates. And right below the documents and guidelines, there is a little checkbox you will need to tick before starting your form. It just asks like whether you have read the documents above, and we certainly hope the answer is yes. So we can just go for the next step. Here you can find the submission form where you can enter the title of your proposal, also write a short, maximum 2 sentence summary, and also upload all the required documents. You can always come back and edit the form later, so no worries if you don't have the final version or everything is not ready to go yet. I will just upload random files to go to the next step. because this is a mandatory field, so you can just go. Okay. And yes, you also need to confirm that you uploaded all the necessary files. And oh yes. So next step is the application form section. It also starts with some basic administrative questions that help us to verify your eligibility and make sure that we can contact you with the results also. And this is also where you will set your priority order if you submit 2 proposals. So just tick 1 for your top choice and 2nd for the other. And after these administrative questions, here you can find the core questions about your residency idea and your artistic proposal. These questions were designed based on the evaluation criteria, and you will see word limits under each box to help guide your answers and keep it short but meaningful. And as I mentioned before, you can always save and return to the form later. There is only one thing you should never ever do. Please do not delete your application form, because we just cannot bring it back to life. So yes, just another heads up, make sure that your timeline and budget match what you are writing here, because consistency matters a lot during the evaluation process. And at the very end, you can find also some general questions for statistical purposes, and followed by the last questions. You can find 2 really important buttons, Save as a Draft and Submit. So when you save as a draft, the system will just take you back to your account dashboard, where you can just come back and work on your application anytime before the deadline. And once everything is all set, you can just hit the submit. Yes, if you just run into any issues with the platform, please don't hesitate to use the chat feature, like this one. I will show you once again. Or you can even check the help desk documentation. There's a really nice collection of questions and issues, so you can maybe find your answers also here. But of course, you can come to us anytime. Okay, I hope it was not that fast and everything is more or less clear, but if not, just feel free to ask any questions regarding to this platform.
Thank you, Frusina. Before we go to the final Q&A, I just wanted to share one more thing. I was quickly reading questions in the Zoom, and there were questions on evaluation criteria, which we didn't touch upon in the presentation. So on the application page, in the guide for applicants, go into this document, on page 15, you will find the evaluation criteria and also breakdown on how your proposal will be evaluated with how many points. So I would invite you to, no matter what, even if you're present at this webinar, go through the guide of the application, because there are a few information that we might not have shared, or some information you can find described a little bit more in depth. And in answering to the question from the chat, this is where you can find guidelines on how we are evaluating the different areas of your proposals. All right. So,
yeah, maybe I can start answering one recurrent question, which is about co-funding somewhat, or having a project that is part of a larger project, which receives funding from similar EU sources or maybe even national sources. Theoretically, this is possible, but it is very important to ensure that there is no double funding involved. To be able to ensure that, you need to make it very clear what your project is about and what specifically lies within your proposal for Aqua Motion. And it can get very tricky. So ideally, please make sure it is distinctive enough and that it's not using multiple sources, financial sources, and providing double funding for the same type of activity from different resources. So that's very, very important. There was a question about the funding, flow of funding, if I remember correctly. And that follows the section that Margarita just shared. So there is a section on budget in the guidelines. If you go down, there is a schedule of payments, which will be tied to progress, obviously, which we will ask for you to document periodically. We don't have too many reports. We made sure that we're not creating over bureaucracy in this project. But of course, there's an interim period where we would like to review the progress altogether, and then a final period. So now I'm going. One of the initial questions had to do with this VAT legal registration. Yes, we realize the terminology can get very European Commission from time to time, but there are certain schemes that we need to adhere to. That's why we're using that language, even if we're not in love with it. But yes, you need to be a registered legal entity. This could be your own small company. It is just to make sure that we have the legal grounds to transfer a substantial amount of European funding.
okay, I can maybe go ahead and read some
Yes.
questions that are coming back. Does the accommodation for 5 weeks needs to be included in our budget? If so, is there an approximate guide to cost per night, etc., that we can use for our budgets? So it is indeed included in your own budget. On top of my knowledge, like on top of my head, there are a few residencies, challenge location that are able to accommodate or have accommodations for artists, but not for all of them, of course. It's a different case by case. So this is a question that you could share via email with us, and we can, once you decided which residency you want to apply, you can share the questions via email and we can contact directly the residency you are applying to. Maybe they can suggest a breakdown of the prices, or if there is indeed any support in hosting. But generally, it comes out of your budget. The next
Thank you.
Welcome. Are the templates for the residency timeline and budget already to find somewhere on the website or only during the application process? Fruzina, I believe they're only in the application process.
Yes.
They're not on the website, but you can log in, creating an account. You can leave it open for the entirety of 5 weeks. You can download them in the meantime. If you're opening the account, it doesn't mean that you need to apply within 2-3 days. You can take your time and then have a look at the documents offline and fill them in and upload them when you're ready. Do we need to have this legal form before applying, or can we create it once selected? I mean, could we apply as individuals and then create our company-wise legal existence? No, unfortunately, you need to be able to have the legal form before applying for the residency. Unless you're applying, yeah, no, sorry, there is no way around it. I'm sorry. Then there will be another session more dedicated to the challenge goals and topics. No, there won't be. We decided to use this hour to go over the different practicality of the residency, being 25 challenges, quite a lot of terrain to cover, and also each challenge has different host organization and different partner connected with it. So there won't be, but please send us your questions and we will do our best to redirect them to the challenge host organization and they will answer to you. A question regarding host institution. In the challenge PDF, a partner institution is mentioned. Is it identical with the host institution? How do I stay with a communal water management institution as a host? How does it?
Maybe I can take that one.
Yes.
Each challenge has a host institution, meaning the mentoring and the coordination of the residency lies within a specific consortium partner. So the consortium partners are the ones that Margarita shared in the beginning of the project. This is a 12 consortium partner project. But as part of the Water Innovation Lab structure, we are collaborating as consortium partners with challenge host institutions, meaning that some challenges are owned and offered by particular organizations. It could be a municipality, it could be a water technology company, for instance, who are collaborating with us, partnering with us to host this residency. And that challenge is a package deal between those two coast institutions. Therefore, when you apply for the challenge, it means that you will be working with those organizations that are defined as challenge co-hosts on the booklet.
Thanks. Can I apply for the residency that will be in the city where I live? Yes, absolutely. It makes it even easier. So yes, go for it. If we don't have a legal entity, can we collaborate with an existing one, even if we're not part of it? The loophole in the system.
Yes. Well, in that case, it really depends on your relationship with the legal entity. In this case, then the applicant must be that legal entity. So it's not then the artists, but you can, if you can show your relationship or if you can manage your relationship actually with that legal entity as the artist, then yeah, technically it is possible. But then just be aware that the recipient of the fund will be that legal entity. If something goes wrong, then it might be a risky situation on your part, well, also on our part. So at the time of the eligibility check, if we have questions or if we have doubts about the feasibility of the project because of all these complex relationships, it may not be to your advantage. Everything else being equal with, of course, the other applicants.
What if I can justify I'm an artist, but I open my ability to receive funds when it's needed? Is this okay? No, you need to be able to, you need to have your legal entity already before applying for these fundings. You cannot open it while applying or after you have received notification if the application is going well or not. Sorry. So for everybody, before applying to the fundings, make sure that you do have a legal entity, and otherwise, there is this little loophole of connecting with someone who already has a legal entity. But as Zeynep explained, you need to be able to really explain your relationship with this other person, and the legal entity will be the official applicant and the recipient of the funding.
Maybe to reiterate, because the terminology can also be causing some confusion, the legal entity is not something that is that complicated. Usually artists as self-employers have are registered entities already. So that's what we're talking about. I mean, you don't have to have like a very complicated limited liability company or something like that. Wherever you're coming from, wherever your legal jurisdiction is, as an artist, well, you're producing works, you are getting commissions, and most of the time you have a financial relationship with the market that you're operating in, and therefore it is most likely that you're already issuing invoices, using your tax registration number. That is what we're talking about. So just to make it very clear.
There is another question about that, Zeynep. Can the legal entity also be a commercial office or a design bureau?
Yes.
Why not?
I think in the call, we also have our coordinator, Innova Plus, Rita. I will invite you to comment, please, around these legal questions if you think that we're not covering the whole topic.
Hi everyone, Patricia here. Sorry that
Patricia there.
yeah, sorry I couldn't turn on my camera
I'm
today. I'm
sorry
having
that I saw
connection
Rita.
issues. Yeah, but I don't see an issue with this. I think we asked for it to be a legal entity of what kind. I think it's up to the applicant and just ensuring that that legal entity can carry out the project. So I think it's completely acceptable.
Great, thank you, Patricia. Any other questions that we are missing? Because the chat is very beautifully flowing with great questions.
Is it possible to collaborate with other professionals and artists within the scope of the project? For example, a writer and a designer. Yes, of course, you can collaborate with other professionals in the project.
Just make sure that with these types of collaborations and involving others, that you explain what their contribution and what their relevance is, and also a reflection of that in the project plan, but also in the budget.
And if you are thinking about applying for one of the challenge and you imagine that as part of your project, you may need some technical guidance of any kind. For example, I make an example that is more familiar to me. If you're applying with Hortimare, they're working with algae, and you say, okay, for my project, I need access to a biologist or a specific technical machine or so on. And you're not sure it's already available through the residency, please send us an email, because most likely it is. And before starting to think, oh, who can I contact in my network? Contact us and we can check with the host organizations what is available. Another question, can we collaborate with other scientific institutions? Yes.
Yes. Again, technically, yes, and it might be as a strong point of your proposal, but in some of these challenges, you will see that there are already scientific institutions. So from time to time, it might be a sensitive relationship for scientific institutions to work together. Just keep in mind that if there is already a scientific institution, and you see a complementarity, yes, possible, but please be aware that it may not be that easy or a walk in the park once the partners come together. Although we will be facilitating, that's why we're here for. There's a very solid mentoring program around Aqua Motion, but a lot of the scientific partners are already from our side coming into this project, expecting more or less, or having an expectation more or less, introducing new partners. Yeah, as long as there's complementarity, why not? But be careful.
And maybe something that I would ask as an artist, you can apply up to 2 challenges, and these 2 challenges, they don't need to be in 2 separated countries, but they could also be in the same country. For example, with Bach, we have 2 challenges out. You can apply to both of them. So up to 2, but without restriction.
Only that you select which one is your first choice. If you're an artist with a part-time employment relationship with a scientific institution, does this? No, it doesn't affect your eligibility.
No.
Where can
we
we find?
find the list of the 25 challenges? Let me share the screen very quickly. Hello.
In the meantime, maybe I can take the.
On the STARTS website where the open call is published, in the central button here is Challenges booklet. You can click on it, and there is a wonderful PDF, very long PDF, 86 pages, where all the challenges are explained. So for instance, let's just look at the first one, the one from Portugal. This is the list of the different challenges that you will find within Portugal, and then each of them is complemented by 2 pages. It's always the same structure. So it starts with keyword and summary of the challenge with the title and the different partners, the description of the challenges, expected results and outcome, and who is involved, any additional info, if any, and any useful links, if any. And these repeats for each challenge, and then after Portugal, you will find the next country and then the next country. And so you find this booklet while clicking on the central button here on the Open Call website.
There is a question about how long, how long should the artwork be shown after completion, be publicly accessible? That is completely up to you. There's no restriction around that. Are we responsible to find exhibition places locally, or is that going to be provided by the partners? Of course, each region and partner has an effort to show these artworks. There are a couple of high visibility events, but while we are in the curatorial and the cultural program process of those events, of course, there's no guarantee that all of the works will be exhibited, but there is a high chance. Would the final payment of 10K happen at the beginning of the scale-up phase? No, the final payment is after the project is completed.
Yeah, so I reply with the breakdown. So when you sign the contract, you will receive 60% of the total 40,000 euro. Then at the end of the first 9 months, which is the first phase of the residency, you will receive 15%. And then at the end of the last phase, after the final evaluation, you will receive the remaining 25%. So we try to allocate the bigger sum at the beginning of the project so that you are able to finance. And this varies institution by institution, but every organization has up to 5,000 euro budget to cover cost of traveling and exhibition for the exhibition purposes.
Denise has a question about mentoring. You're welcome. I wanted to ask whether the mentors for each challenge are mentioned somewhere. You mean mentors as exactly who that person is, or which organization that is? Which organization that is in the challenge booklet. That's the host organization. But who exactly from the host organization? No, we did not mention it there. Yeah, from Bach, it will be either me or Margarita. Just as an example, it says on the website, budget per artist residency covering artist fees, concession public. Could you comment on how participation in exhibitions and public events could be covered in the detailed budget? How flexible could the budget be drawn? Well, if you already have a plan for exhibiting as part of your production, then you can specify in the budget how flexible could the budget be? The budget is quite flexible because this is well, I'm now going to use another technical term, lump sum, which means that you are not required to provide proof of expenditure in terms of invoices, etc. But in planning your project, you can propose how you're going to expend your budget. There could be, and these are plans, so we know that with creative projects, things can change and shift. And we will deal with those changes as part of the reporting. But as far as allocating your budget, the priority is on your research, creating the work itself, so producing the work, and the scale-up phase, which is then taking your work through a cultural medium or a channel. Maybe it has a very specific technology that you would like to test, or whether you are employing a community intervention somewhere. So the budget should really reflect on these main phases and cycles. Other than that, exhibiting in high visibility events, it's not your part of the budget, if I remember correctly, right? And here I would like to get some feedback from Rita and maybe even Lisa about scale up.
So, Liz, I don't know if you want to go first. No. Can you repeat the question, please, Zainab?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, how flexible is the budget? So in terms of, I mean, we explained that this is a lump sum, but
I think the specific detail here is that could you comment on how participation in exhibitions and public events should be covered in the detailed budget?
Yeah, so you don't know at this stage which exhibition, as you will have also this discussion with the host institution. So our idea was for you to preview a part of the budget for the exhibitions, like the attendance, also for the travel. So it is a little bit more flexible, but let's say that you are previewing to have 3K for exhibitions because you are thinking on local exhibitions. But if you are thinking on having, if you are from another country and you are applying to local events or exhibitions in the hosting country, and you will need to attend it. So maybe that could be more flexible if the host has relationships with the host institution. I'm thinking, for example, we have in the consortium WAMUNET, so they are the water museums, and probably some of them will have interest in having some of your exhibitions. And because they are a partner, maybe this can be a little more facilitated to you. So I would say that you can preview a part of the budget, but let's say 3K, 5K. If it's not that you are going to spend, if it's less, there's no problem with that. But have in mind that you need to have something for the exhibitions. You can have there also the traveling expenses, the accommodations, everything. So this is the idea that you need to have when you are previewing the budget. Okay.
Just add something very quickly, because this is something that we often get questions about because we know that the budget is limited given that we are expecting you to, have a residency that takes place over 13 months and most often artists are traveling to their host institutions. They're often from outside of those. I think our main advice is to make sure that your budget is reflecting all the activities that we're saying are mandatory. Make sure that what you're proposing is in scope with the budget. For us, we'd rather see something medium scale, small scale, but that fits within the budget than something that is large scale, that we know is time and resource consuming, that we and the jury can't then match the idea with the budget. So that's the first advice, is make sure that your project, your activities are reflective of that budget. In terms of the travel, we know that this is quite heavy on the artists. I think when we drew this up, we recognize this. And I think we'll be as flexible as we can, in the sense that we are already expecting you to travel to your host institution to spend time with them for that local event. So try to have a timeline where those travels are fit within that. So you're already traveling to that local event, so that is your event. You have to travel, like the requirement is that you travel once to Brussels. So this is a pop-out event. It's our way and the project's way of reaching policymakers. So that is absolutely mandatory. And then there's an additional international travel, and this is sort of to disseminate your work. It could be to Ars Electronica Festival for the symposium that's part of the project. It could be to the final conference in Brussels. So although we can't at the moment say specifically you're going to be invited to A, B, and C, forecast 2 international trips, one to Brussels and one more generally could be to Venice Biennale, it could be to the final conference again in Brussels, or to the Ars Festival. But I think our main advice in terms of budget flexibility is, yes, we are flexible, and I think as hosts or partners, we want to make sure that we facilitate the process once the artist is signed, and we don't want to overcomplicate things. But in terms of your evaluation, what the jury is going to want to see is that you check off all the mandatory activities, and that your budget fits your idea, that you're, not shooting for the moon with what we know is a limited budget. But I think that's the main advice. But I think, and I was thinking, Zainab and Margarita, we will have an FAQ section on our website. That's something that we'll try to compile next week, because some of these questions are really pertinent. And, it's already quite a few of you here, but there's a lot more that have been reaching out to us. And one of those is going to be, what trips do I need to consider in our budget? What trips does the consortium, the partners, the evaluators need to see? And we will specify the mandatory ones so that you can, budget it loosely. So yeah, sorry. Thank you. Thank you for that.
No, thank you, Patricia. The question about the exhibition particularly was a good one, and thank you for that. But please be reminded that exhibiting your work is not a hard, concrete responsibility that is expected from your side. It's one of the platform and channel that the program is trying to offer, is that we're going to make our best effort to make sure that these works are exhibited and shown in some form, even if not all of them physically, with the partner institutions. And in addition to the high visibility events such as the KIK Festival, Ars Electronica Festival, pop-up event in Brussels. But as you would imagine, the curatorial processes of each of these organizations are quite different from each other. And not knowing the works at this stage, it's not possible to make a very clear planning. So unless there's a very specific event that you will be in very locally, you want to be in, you want to, target your work towards that, you can have it in your budget, but other than that, it's not an obligation. I think the artist fee is already answered. Yes, please, artist fee is included in the budget, not exceeding the 35% limit.
Okay, so I think we answer almost all the question in the chat, and it's a 2:30. So I would invite, if you have other questions, to reach out to us via email. And also, as I said, we gave an overview of the guidelines, but if you click on the button and follow the link to the PDF, there is a lot more. So I would invite you to first read those, and then if you have more questions, please get back to us. Also, if you have specific questions towards host institutions of the challenges, as we didn't have time to go challenge per challenge in detail today, please do so. These sessions, because was recorded, will be also shared for whoever wants to apply but was not able to attend today. So if you also know someone who wanted to attend, not able to be here today, please share the video later on. And I want to thank you, all of you, for being here today, and thank you, Frusina and Zeynep and Lisa, for supporting the session, and of course, Patricia.
Patricia.
Yes.
Good luck, all, and we'll see you soon.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.